Wrestle and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors in the Warriors Den. We are the hosts. I'm Tristan Ducross. Along my side, as always, my partner in crime, my brother, the one and only Sean Ducross. Sean, what an incredible show we got going on. But in the middle of all this, hopefully we can bring some viewers over from the horrible vice president debate that we got going on right now. God, I swear, these debates that are going on right now, these moderators really suck at doing their jobs. You got 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes to talk, and then we're going to go switch so you can get a rebuttal. But yet, you keep talking, and it's like, dude, just cut off their mics. You have the capabilities of doing that, and they don't do it. Right? I just don't get it. I just don't. Moderators have one job, but apparently, I thought Bellator had one job too this weekend. You have Bellator 248 and Bellator Euro 10 going at the same time. And at first glance, I was thinking Bellator 248, right? Loaded card. And then I realized it's actually a split card. It's Bellator 248, headlined by MVP Michael Venom Page versus Houston. And then you have Euro 10. And Euro 10, I looked at the card, and once I figured out that it was actually split into two, I thought the tentpole event should have hands down been Bellator Euro 10, right?
Yeah.
Melvin Manoff is making his return. I was intrigued by that fight.
Yeah.
Czech Congo is the headline of this fight card. Like, are you kidding me?
You know, and we'll get to Melvin Manoff in a minute, because Melvin Manoff ties into something else that I just saw that was sent out to the social media and the press release from Bellator that we'll get to here in a little bit as well.
Perfect.
Because Manoff ties into that situation as well, and it puzzled my mind. So before we get into Euro 10, because Euro 10 to me is a much more of a tentpole event than freaking Bellator 248. You look at Bellator 248, you've got Michael Venom Page versus...
And then the card kind of falls off, right? I mean, there's a couple good, solid fights on that card, but nothing that's going to steal the highlights unless you get a freakish KO that gets everybody talking about, right?
Absolutely.
But Michael Venom Page is the sole name and the sole proprietor that was going to bring money to this card. And if you're going to be on BBC, their streaming platform, to try to garner pay-per-view buys, to get people to start talking about it, leads me to believe that I would not put a lot of money on Venom Page going against Ross Houston. I looked at... My immediate reaction was, again, like everybody knows, something you have to understand with the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors is that we will literally take our time to break down a fight card or a fighter and give you the in-depth understanding of why these fights are made. Michael Venom Page, we all know he lost to Douglas Lima in that crazy, I'm going to kick your leg out from underneath you and smack you with an uppercut.
Right.
Right? That made the memes, that made the headlines. You'll never see another KO like that. You just won't. But then when you look at his body of work, where a lot of the fights, he has been fed wins. So when he got to Douglas Lima, he was built up to somebody that a lot of people didn't think he believed. So when you look at that, and you look at the body of the work of Michael Venom Page, a lot of his fighters are a little bit suspect.
Yeah.
So then you look across what he has done since Lima. He has ran off 3 straight wins. I applaud him. Congratulations, MVP. I like MVP. I think there's a lot to like about him. And from a marketing standpoint, I think there's a huge up ceiling with him. The problem that I see with that is that you can no longer just keep feeding him peanuts and thinking you're going to make peanut butter. You can't. So when you're looking at Michael Venom Page and you look across the bow, now you got Ross, the Hitman, Houston, 8-0. But I looked at his body of work and his fights. Sean, combined record wins to losses, 41-16. His opponents.
And what's
Don't
interesting,
tell me,
Tristan, what's interesting is like when I looked at this fight card, okay, we've talked about Bellator protecting Michael Venom Page.
absolutely.
That's what they wanted to do. They've always wanted to protect Michael Venom Page. It's just like Antonio McKee Jr. Let's protect your golden boys until you feel like the protection, the cuffs need to come off.
But it's weird because with Antonio
weird way-
McKee Jr., though, he's had good competition, stiff competition
He's
now.
finally gone up.
Yep.
But in this fight, I feel this is his Michael Venom Page's step up in competition. When you look at what Ross Houston has done, he's 8-0. When you look at who he's beaten, he's been a mainstay on Cage Warriors. Go back and look at his brutal bout with Nicholas Darby that makes freaking Stefan Bonner and Forrest Griffin look like junkyard, and Roy McDonald for his Robbie Lawler looked like Scrap Pete.
Yep. Matt, that
if you haven't seen those
that fight,
that fight
versus, what was it,
like,
Darby?
Yeah, Nicholas Darby. If you haven't seen that fight, bro, dude, go look up Darby versus Houston. If you don't know who Ross Houston is, go look at his highlights on YouTube. The guy's a machine. The guy is if he wants to have any shot right now of beating Michael Venom Page, just be aggressive.
100%.
Be what has brought you to the table for the Cage Warriors. Bring that concept, that game plan, and go right after Michael Venom Page. Because you got to make Michael Venom Page uncomfortable. If Michael Venom Page can get off his strikes first and fast and keep that distance, there is nothing in this world that is going to help Ross Houston. Because at the end of the day, man, Ross Houston, he's got one tough battle. But finally, I feel like this bout is on an even playing field.
100%.
I feel like this one has a chance to steal the show. But why would you put just this fight on 248?
The only thing I could think of is, like I said, Sean, they're on a new streaming platform for this event.
But why? If that argument makes
Excitement.
no sense.
That's it.
No, because that doesn't make any sense. You got one fight.
One main fight.
On the streaming platform is what you're telling me.
Yes.
How does that benefit anybody?
To me, it doesn't. But I'm just saying is that if they're putting all their eggs in the basket, Sean,
Yeah.
for Michael Venom Page, and hoping for an exciting fight, that's what you're going to get. That's why I started off by saying that if you're looking for a fighter that's marketable, a high ceiling, it's Venom Page. If you're going to test the waters to see what he's capable of doing. Now, if he loses the same fashion that he lost to Douglas Lima, everything that they have built up, that they have worked for, the marketing is going to go by the wayside. Like this is done. Everything that they have tried to build him up to be, because you say this is a step up in competition. So he faced Douglas Lima, and basically Douglas Lima and Ross Houston are the only two step ups that he has had faced. And if he loses to Douglas Lima and Ross, what does that say about him as a fighter? If those are your step ups, right? Your ladder. If you climb all the way up to the status of championship fight and you can't win, and then you fall all the way back down to rise back up, and you get to that top again,
and you lose to Ross.
And you lose to Ross. Everything that Bellator has prayed, has hoped for Venom Page, forget it. It's done.
Because if he can't beat the best of the best in Bellator,
and he can't beat the guy that's rising, right in the middle of the pack of the road, what does that tell you as a fighter? That you're a fringe fighter? That you're exciting, you're fun to watch, you're a what if this happens in this fight? But there's no substance to you? where do you go from there?
That's a big question. That's a good question you raised, because if he loses, I think that's one that everybody has to ask.
You have to be truthful with yourself when you are a fighter. Either you are handed false hopes or you're handed false goods, and you think you are better than what you're given, and you think you're owed something. That's the key word. I really hate when people say that you are owed something. If you are a fighter and you go 18-0, did you earn 18-0? Were you handed opportunities to take easy fights and pad your stats and pad your records and climb the ladders and get paid and get handed out? Hardly any of your greatest players of all time never have handouts or gimmies. Right?
Yeah.
If you're destined to be great, you are tested on a daily basis. Both mentally, physically, every single day you are tested. This is another test for Michael Venom Page. And the guy that's standing in front of him, I don't know.
But Tristan, you're talking about gimmies, and you mentioned Bellator Euro 10. You mentioned that, and you were discussing about this event. This one should, in theory, be Bellator 248. This one should be Bellator 248 because of the fact that you got Czech Congo, who is from the area of France. You have Melvin Manoff from the area of France. Why would you waste money on a fight card that you could have blended into a temple event for Paris?
Again, you and I, we think logical, right? We think the big picture. We think money, right?
Yes.
And when you look
How
at
are you
Euro,
going to make more money?
you're telling me that the fight card on Euro 10 that has main players from the area to talk about something that is so historic in France, in Paris. And I just felt like that there wasn't a whole lot of thought
That went into it.
in these two cards. Because do you not understand that you could have literally tore the roof right off the place with Euro 10, blend it with 248? Tell me you guys wouldn't want to see Michael Venom Page, Ross Houston, Czech Congo, Johnson, Melvin Manoff, Simon Biong, co-main event, Medizov versus Saul Rogers. Tell me you wouldn't want to see that. Alone right there, that is anything better than what we have seen from the UFC in the last couple of fight nights?
Yeah. And then when you talk about that fight, okay, you just stick on the main event. And I say that you could have thrown this one into Bellator 248 because of the fact that this one is a throwaway. This is a run back. Let's run back and fight with Czech Congo.
And Timothy Johnson.
Versus Timothy Johnson, something that ended in 68 seconds for a knockout. Wait, what? And we're going to run this back as a main event? Wait, what? Okay. So basically, we're going to see deja vu all over again, or hope that Timothy Johnson in that fight from a year and a half ago
has changed his game plan or adapted and trained differently.
He's not the aggressive throwing ham hocks and looking like Roy Nelson. That was an interesting comparison I read. It was like, what? No wonder why he got his brains bashed in by a guy who's notoriously known as a world-class grappler. That is not exactly the most enticing fighter.
No.
Czech Congo likes to make things uncomfortable for the opposing opponent.
This guy uses his brute strength and raw wrestling to get you to the ground.
He knocked out Timothy Johnson in 68 seconds.
Yeah.
That says just how aggressive Timothy Johnson was. And that fight took place, I think, in 2018? The later part of 2018? So you run that one out. And then you look down all the way down the card. And then you've got Melvin Manoff, like, I think rounding out the prelims?
Correct.
What in the world is he doing on the prelims? I get he has not had the most exciting career recently. I get it.
But at least you're either going to get a knockout from him or he's going to get KO'd.
You want to tell me he's not going to sell cards in Paris? You want to tell me he can't sell a card? The fact that he's facing a guy who is 10 inches taller than him? The fact, Tristan, that he's facing a guy who's 6'6", and he 5'8". This is something you would see in Pride, but you're seeing it in Bellator. And Tristan, when you look at this, how in God's green earth is Melvin Manoff supposed to win this fight in theory? Because Byung, he's not afraid to keep his distance. He utilizes his height. This guy is 7-1 with 6 knockouts.
Ain't nobody can reach him.
He's knocked out his last 4 opponents.
Sean, when you can't reach him, you can't get inside on him. You can't. But what I like about Melvin Manoff is the fact that he's a kickboxer.
Yeah.
So if anybody has a, no pun intended, a kicking chance,
it's Melvin Manoff.
It's Melvin Manoff. This guy's kicks are some of the nastiest that you've seen.
But bro, Melvin Manoff, and then he should be coming out and chopping those legs like tree trunks.
That should be his game plan. Chop the legs down, get the fighter to be able to kind of now sit heavy on the legs and just try to get inside or keep on the outside and use
that
angles.
movie that featured, I think it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bruce Lee?
Yes.
That's what this is. That's what this reminds me of. Let's go back to that movie. This matchup was one of the weird, eerie ones that I was like, how does this make sense?
Right.
But it seems to be the trend. Because so Melvin Manoff is already fighting this week on this fight card. And then, oh, by the way, they announced that he'll be the opponent to the debuting of Corey Anderson.
Right.
Wait. You haven't even won your fight yet, and you've already signed on for another fight. Who is your agent? Who's the yo-yo that signed this?
And the
fight is supposed to take place in November 7th.
Not the same agent that's trying to get Mike Perry, the Cam Soda, to corner him.
We'll talk about that at the end of the day, because I know you wanted to talk about it. Then our boy Jimmy Smith was talking about it, so I guess let's talk about it. Let's make people a little uncomfortable. But that didn't make any sense to me about announcing Corey Anderson versus Melvin Manoff November 7th on Bellator, when he's got to fight this weekend. Because that makes sense.
Right?
But what does make sense is we're going to break.
Yes. And then when we're coming out, Holly Holm put a stop on the clock. What does that say about the rest of her career? More with the Ducross brothers. Cross that line. Support your brothers. We'll be right back. Pass the popcorn. Hit the donate button. Keep us on the air. Hopefully you guys love us right here on Sportscaster. We'll be right back after this break.
We are the Ducross brothers. We are here every Wednesday night on Sportscaster at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are a combat sports talk show here discussing everything from MMA, boxing, wrestling, you name it. We're going to hit topics. We're going to hit previews of fight cards or headlines. We'll rip them and give you our take, our spin, and the taglines cross the line because sometimes we step over just a tad. But make sure that you follow us right here on Sportscaster. Hit that follow button so you can stay up to date when we schedule our live feeds Follow us on Twitter at the Ducross Bros. Chat us up over there. You can like our fan page, Ducross Brothers, over on Facebook. Check us out. We're live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
All right, everybody. We're back after that quick break. Tracy Ducross, Sean Ducross. Wow.
Yeah, you followed my suit right now.
Wow. The Ducross brothers, Sean and Tristan Ducross, cross that line with us. Welcome to the Warriors Den. Appreciate everybody that's tuning into us right now and not the vice president debate. Because that's mind blown. Couple shout outs. Shout out to Auntie, our sponsor right here. I love Auntie right here. We use the textures, the drops. If you guys are into CBD and need some, head over to iloveauntie.com. Use promo code Ducross Bros and get 10% off of your purchase. You can also go to our fan page on facebook.com/the Ducross Bros and get a break on your ESPN Plus subscription. So make sure you click that pin link on our Facebook fan page and get that break. In the meantime, Sean, UFC Fight Night, another one. Yes, another one. And no, I'm not DJ Khaled. But Holly Holm secured the bag and came away with the victory. And it was a pretty dominant fight from start to finish. Probably one of her better fights that I've seen in the last couple. The fact that since she has, the last time she won the championship, she's now 4-5. She kind of hold off the father clock or the woman clock, if you want to talk about that, is that she's been able to pause it now because she still looks like she could still compete at a high level and possibly go after that bantamweight championship.
Two things rise for me in this fight, okay? Did she hold off time? Absolutely. Did she look good? In moments. Was she good throughout the whole fight? Not really. She was typical Holly Holm. Point striking, keeping her distance, using her boxing. Aldana had no answer.
No.
She was uncomfortable at times, looked awkward at trying to cut the distance, was afraid to get into a boxing bout with Holly Holm. What was nice to see was Holly Holm attempting takedowns. That was a little bit of a different blend.
5? I think what I counted, 5 takedowns by Holly Holm against a girl that is one of the, if not the best takedown defense. And she got taken down 5 times. Like hold on. I seriously had to do this. Let me see if I can find it. See if I can find it. Yep. Gotta play this.
I'm going to have to put on my fucking double seeing glasses because I can't even begin to see the amount of bullshit coming from you.
Yeah, because that's how I felt. The amount of BS that was involved and where I needed my double C glasses because Holly Holm is a boxer. Not normally the fighter that's going to take the fight to the ground, and let alone against a girl that has the best takedown defense probably in the division. And you were right, and you were able to do it over and over again. And the only thing I could think of is when I was watching this fight was that, seriously, the way that she was able to adjust, go low to go high, go low to go high, or go high to low, and was able to change levels like she was doing. I don't know if her girl felt off, like she wasn't expecting a kind of well-rounded fight from Holly Holm.
Well, I know I wasn't expecting a takedown. especially early in the fight. I know that caught me off guard. I knew I wasn't expecting that. But you look at the level, okay? And then she ended the fight very strong. Holly Holm did.
Oh, with a flurry.
There's only one fight to be made. There's only one fight for Holly Holm. That is, you throw Durandame at her.
Dude.
But see, that was another one, Tristan. Durandame won via submission over Pena.
From the bottom. She made her go night-night on top of her. Sleep.
She normally stands there and throws hands just like Holly Holm.
She went to sleep on top of her. I was watching that and I saw the takedown and I was like, okay, this is Pena. She's going to continue to push forward, be the aggressor. And then all of a sudden you see her left leg kind of go limp and kind of go weak. And all of a sudden she was just, and I was like, oh, she's out. She's out. Somebody check her. She's out. And then they finally check her arm and I was like, yep, she's out. But Jermaine, she's another interesting girl as Holly Holm. Because here's another fighter that many people thought that there's not a whole lot left. A lot of the critics and a lot of the analysts were saying that this was Pena's fight to win. And for most of the fight, it kind of was Pena for off and on most of the fight. Like they were trading back and forth a good amount of it. Like it was an exciting fight for the first couple rounds. And I'm thinking, hey, it might be Pena's show. Up until that moment. But to put it past again, Holly Holm, the body of the work, right? Yes. Says that at 39 years old in 3 weeks, she could still be a top contender. You look at Jermaine and you think the exact same thing now that, hey, Amanda Nunes, hey, she changed the way that she approaches things. The mental aspect, she's now 100% focused. She understands what it means to be in that spotlight. She understands what it means to be in
Does she?
100%. You saw the way that she came out of that fight, right? When she called, hey, I'm going to show you confidence right now. I'm going to look at the camera. And I'm going to tell you, Amanda Nunes, you hold on that title just for a little while longer because I'm coming for it. You never saw that from her last time.
I'll believe it when she doesn't avoid Amanda Nunes like she did last time. I'll believe it when I see it. But this just goes to show how weak the division is. You've got these two women at the top of the food chain, and then that's about it. So you've got to look at all aspects, everything from every which way, every angle. That's about it. The winner of those two get another crack at Amanda Nunes. But it's just regurgitating what everybody's already seen because the division is so weak. It is ridiculous. For all I care, freaking Amanda Nunes can go off and be a mom. Continue to be a mom. Because, yes, she just had a kid with her girlfriend or wife. I don't know which one. I don't know. I can't remember if they're married or girlfriend. I can't remember. But either way, they now have a kid together. So she could go off and be a mom and be happy because she's had the absolute best career a woman mixed martial artist could probably ever have. Done it all, have nothing left to prove.
I was just going to say that. Does she have anything left to prove?
For all I care, relinquish the title and let Holly Holm and Durandame fight for a vacant title to crown the next champion.
Right?
That's the way I'd go about it. Because, quite frankly, I would not want to see either one versus Nunes because we all know what the outcome is going to be. It is what it is. But you're talking about outcomes. You're talking about the next thing, on to the next, blah, blah, blah. UFC on ESPN plus 37 or Fight Island number, blah, 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 blah. How many more cards are we going to get of different names? UFC Vegas, blah, 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 blah. Fight Island, blah, 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 blah.
We're always going to have numbers.
It's about as ridiculous as
I think we're up to 452.
You know, it's about as ridiculous as us with our numbers of episodes. Because
178.
To be honest, We've been doing this for 14 years. 14 years.
Did
And
you
our
count that?
No, because it came up on the other day. Well, like when we first started, I was like, damn, 14 years. Woo! We still enjoy doing what we do. We still like bringing our opinions and different takes and different opinions, and it is what it is. But what is interesting, Tristan, is the fact that our episode right now says 178.
Yes.
We've done almost, I'd say probably, what? Almost 1 million shows?
Probably, because, I mean, we started on college radio. We went to
ESPN radio.
No, we went from college radio to internet radio.
Yep.
With a sports network. Then from the sports network, we went to ESPN radio. Then from ESPN radio, we went to Montreal's
station.
radio station. Then we tried Blog Talk Radio. We've done our own podcast. We've done Facebook Live. We've done YouTube. And now we're on Sportscaster. So we've literally have been around the world combing and honing our skills and hopefully bringing you the content that's different than what you hear on Sirius Radio, FM, AM radio, on Facebook, on YouTube. I hope we're doing something completely different
Than what everybody
else is doing in terms of analyzing fights or giving you different opinions or different aspects of fights. And that's what we're doing. I hope you guys enjoy that because we've enjoyed it for the long time that we've done.
That's why we.
If I would have known that it was our anniversary of 14 years, bro, I would have done something that said, "Hey,
because it kind of is though. Now that I think about it, because we started the show October, I think of 2006,
something like that." Are you going to seriously look it up?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm going to my LinkedIn.
Dude.
I got to confirm this.
Find Sean Ducross on LinkedIn. Give him a follow.
January.
January of 2006.
So we'll be at this for 15 years starting January.
That's crazy.
15 years.
And we were the first MMA show on ESPN Radio 1700.
Yes, in San Diego.
The first MMA show in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I mean,
can't say we're not doing too shabby,
right? But we were the ones that never really put our accolades out there, and now we've been told that you guys have been at this for a long time. You guys should put your accolades out there. We're like, we don't like to boast about it. Like, that's the reality of it. We don't. I guess just like every day at work, I hate being praised for something I do because it's my job. My expectation is to perform at the highest level that I can. That's the way we've always been, right?
Yeah.
From sports to, if I cannot give you 100% in what I am doing, I cannot do it. I can't. So here we are at this moment, and you're looking at UFC on ESPN 37, which theoretically ESPN plus 592 dot hashtag 32. I don't know. But because they started all over on ESPN, it's 37. But who's on the card? I lost my train of thought.
So it's headlined by...
Got on a Tristan rant for a second.
It's headlined by Marlon Morisse versus Corey Sanderhagen. And we remember Corey Sanderhagen because he was riding that wave and then ran into Aljamain Sterling and walked right out of the cage via rear naked choke.
Yep.
And then the Fugmaster rose to the top and said, "I'm here."
I like this fight. It's going to be entertaining. And I looked at this fight and I wanted to see him win, but then I look at Morisse and I think Morisse got it. This is going to be an interesting fight, right, Sean?
It is, because it could go many different ways. Because if you look at Marlon Morisse, in theory, he should be 0-2 going into this fight. Because many people thought he lost to Jose Aldo. To Jose Aldo. We thought he lost the fight to Jose Aldo, and that's why Jose Aldo got the title shot. He did. is because, yeah, he lost or won, whatever it was. Now I'm confusing myself. But anyways, he got the win. He went on. Morisse, yeah, whatever. So you look at this and you see the transition is that, so Marlon in this one is going to grind it out. He's going to try to make this as uncomfortable as possible, and he's going to try to make sure that Sanderhagen does not get the distance.
Right.
Sanderhagen's going to try to keep the distance. He's not going to want to get into a clinch war. He's not going to want to grapple. He's going to want to keep the distance. That's the success rate that Sanderhagen has to have for this fight. But you look at it, man, Morisse is 23-6. This is going to end of one of two ways. It's either going to be the distance and a victory that favors Sanderhagen, or it is going to be none other than a knockout of some sort
Right.
by Marlon Morisse. So it's going to be interesting. And then after that, you've got Barboza versus Amir Connie.
Amir Connie should win that fight.
That's what I thought. But every report that I read, believe it or not, Tristan, has freaking Barboza winning this fight.
Right.
And it's like, why?
I don't know where you would eventually go with this fight and where we are at right now. Because this fight card, again, if you're looking at Euro 10 and this fight card, what would you pick?
This fight card.
Right.
Easy.
But if you put Euro 10 and 248 together, what are you doing?
Bellator 248. But Barboza versus Amir Connie, I just like Amir Connie. I'm happy he's back.
Right.
I think he's in here to shock the people. I don't think Barboza can afford to lose again. So it's going to be interesting for this fight card. That's for sure. But outside of that, there's nothing really else to write home about on this fight card either. But I'm more likely to watch
counterpunching. Make sure you
UFC on ESPN Plus. Just saying. That's where I feel comfortable with. But you know what? We're going to head into our next break. We'll come back because something's about to transpire that hasn't happened in 23 years.
Right.
What are we possibly talking about? Wait till we come back.
You don't want to miss that.
You're listening and watching the Ducross Brothers right here on Sportscaster every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are a live combat sports talk show. You can join us in the chat room, chat it up with us, talk about headlines, previews of fight cards. We don't bite, but we love talking about combat. So make sure you join us every Wednesday right here.
Welcome to the Warriors Den, people. We are the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross. Along my side, as always, my brother, Sean Ducross. We are the Ducross Brothers. Cross the line. We are the Sports Warriors. We cover every single combat sport that's known to man every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here. Shout out to our sponsor, I Love Anti. You want amazing CBD? If you're into that stuff, go to iloveanti.com. Use promo code DuCrossBros and save yourself 10%. You can get muscle rub, lip balm, and the textures, everything that you need right there on that website. Go ahead. Click on it. Go get it. In the meantime, see, got mine right here. Something that we have been, that you were caught off guard when I told you about this, and you're like, dude, we have to talk about it. We have to.
And then I caught you off guard.
Well, yeah, kind of. 32 years, 23 years, you flip the 2, get the 3. I mean, Could have been either or. You said that it would have been pretty funny if we could just cross it out and put the actual date. It would have been pretty funny. 1988, 1982.
No, 1997.
1997. Anybody, any guesses in the chat room what we could be talking about here?
It's boxing related.
Yes, it's boxing related. Hasn't happened in 23 years. Last time it happened, 1997. I'm curious if anybody's in the chat room before we talk about this. Anybody know what we're talking about? Because nobody's talking about it, but you'll hear it here tonight. From the Sports Warriors, Sean and Tristan Cross. Sean's tweeting about it right now. So hopefully we can get some momentum here in a second. But anybody? I want to see somebody hit the donate button. What do we got? Anybody? Any guesses yet?
Nobody guessing.
All right. So then, something that hasn't been done in 23 years in the boxing world goes down in Mexico. And of course it's in Mexico, right? Of course it's in Mexico.
Right? Weird things always happen when it's not on U.S. soil.
And it's funny because we ain't talking about Rocky Balboa's fights. Any other guesses? Is that closer? How many rounds was in a Rocky fight? Rocky Balboa in the Rocky movies. Old school days, 1982, 1988, and as recently as 1997. Boxing was 15 rounds. Until the death changed that all and moved it to 12 rounds. They tried it once in 1997. Well, it's coming back with Carlos Molina. We going 15 rounds in boxing.
15-round fight. Yep. Carlos Molina, who runs his own promotion in
King
Mexico,
Carlos Promotions,
is going to fight November 6th, a 15-round fight in New Mexico.
right?
Rocky clued him in.
I had to. I was thinking like, okay, what other could I get people to understand where we were going with it? I knew the Rocky would, because most people understand that Rocky, outside of real life boxing, that was the last time you can honestly sit here and say, that's when I saw a 15 round fight was in Rocky.
But so the last registered 15-round fight was on June 7th, 1997. Jose Flores versus Eric Holland. So you discussed about the last time that a 15-round bout was actually sanctioned. The reports that you had early on was that the last one initially was in 1988 because of a death that occurred to Koo Kim in 82, where everybody's like, whoa, wait a second. There needs to be safety regulations and guidelines and all this other weird stuff. So subsequently, they kiboshed 15-round bouts. But yet this one in 97 squeaked through and got through. So it's going to be interesting. But Juan Carlos, Carlos Molina is facing a guy named Juan Carlos Regoza, who's 17-15. He's basically your pad stats guy. You can get him to sign on any fight card, anytime, and he's going to blast.
Sean, you have to think about it because no sanctioning body has.
He's like Rocky. If he dies, he dies.
Oh, my
And
God.
Carlos
I don't want to
Martinez
hear
is
that
like
saying
Drago.
anymore. I really don't. If he dies, he dies.
It's the common theme now this year. 2020. It's the quote of the year. If he dies, he dies.
I would make a joke right now, but it would be insensitive.
Yes, it would be. Don't even dare. I even know where you're going with that. No. No. Avoid it at all costs.
Political parties would be destroying us.
Yes. Let's not go that route.
But Sean, you had to find a place that would okay it, a sanctioning body that didn't care, and another fighter that didn't care.
But want to know what's interesting?
Essentially, because
But Tristan,
there is a lot of stuff that could go wrong.
bro, this fight card's not even sanctioned yet. Carlos Molina is announcing it to the world.
November 6th.
6th. The
In
fight is
Mexico.
signed for a 15-round fight. But, bro, not even sanctioned yet.
He says he has a sanctioning body.
But it's not sanctioned yet. So we've got this fight poster. We've got this fight announcement. We got the 15 rounds confirmation. But yet, we don't have a sanctioning body yet.
Correct.
We don't even know who's sanctioning it in Mexico. But somebody apparently is.
But if this
So
happens,
what
Sean,
are-
and this goes down in Mexico.
So if it goes down to Mexico, which it is either way, win, lose, or
Correct.
draw, it's going down to Mexico. But my questions are, who's the sanctioning body? What are the rules and regulations for safety and health for this 15-round bout?
Because beyond the 12th round, there's a lot of stuff that could go wrong. Health-wise,
Fatigue-wise.
right. That's an extra 3 rounds that a body hasn't even been through in this generation.
Like, I get it. Carlos Molina says that he's been practicing 15 rounds because that's all he does.
Correct.
His cardio is there. And what it's classified is from the 12th round to the 15th round. Those are legitimate championship rounds. You are built as a fighter, as a champion, if you can make it from 12 to 15 and finish
Sean,
strong.
If this does go down, right, and this is a huge success in Mexico,
Yes.
do we see more 15-round fights?
That's the thing.
Do they start coming back for championship fights?
With the safety and health concerns, I just don't see it. I don't see how you can put anybody's health in jeopardy because you look at all the boxers. They take far more punishment than MMA people on a daily given. When you go the fact that you're going 12 rounds and you're getting hit by over 100 plus strikes,
Right.
at some point, enough is enough. I don't see it ever transitioning because no matter how many fans would like to see it, I don't think there's a place for it because we're so conservative.
100% agree with that.
If we weren't so conservative, then absolutely, I'll be like, dude. But we're conservative now. We avoid any situations that love to make people a little uncomfortable or a little uneasy. God forbid we make you think about something that you probably didn't want to think about. My bad. Like, that's where we're at. But when you talk about logistics or talk about things that shouldn't happen or what you should have done, well, what should have the people done in Rosario's corner against Charlo?
Right?
Rosario was seen nodding off in a corner, and he still went out and got knocked out by a shot to the midsection. What? When do you pump your
That's what
brakes
we're
and
gonna
say,
be
"Hey, hold up,
counterpunching."
wait a second"?
Correct. Hold on. I'm trying to find it right now. See if I can get it pulled up real quick. This is what we're talking about. Let's see if I can get it.
Make sure you get ahead of him. He wants to set you up for that fight. when we're going to be counter-punching, make sure you get ahead of him. He wants to set you up for that right.
Everybody who ever sleeps in a car knows what I'm talking about when they go like this. That's what Rosario did. That's a nod off and what startled me and woke me up. Because he goes, like, you nodded off, homie.
Right then and there, Sean, his corner
won.
should have waved off the fight because the very next round, right after that nod off,
He got the gut punch.
is when he got the gut punch and it was done. Again, we're talking about a fighter's safety, and we're talking about a corner's sole job
is to protect
your fighter at all costs. And you're telling me that your fighter right in front of you is dazed. You see his eyes get big for a second.
Yeah.
You know he is not there at that present time. You're telling me as a corner looking right at your fighter, you can't tell me?
Right? The very next round, Jermell Charlo hits him with a punch that you literally see Rosario squirming on the mat because he was so uncomfortable from that punch to the stomach.
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable watching that because it's like, dude, I've never seen somebody get punched in the midsection where you're squirming. I've seen them where their wind's knocked out of them.
I've seen a liver punch where it literally makes you want to puke.
Gasping for air.
Right.
But the fact that he was squirming on the mat on his back said to me something wasn't exactly on
100%.
Something was not 100% right for Rosario to come back out of that round. Something wasn't right. It was the corner's job to do their job.
To see what happened to their fighter in the corner.
And they let Rosario down. That's a shame. But the Charlo brothers did what they came in and set out to do. We were 1 out of 2 in the predictions for those.
I wouldn't necessarily say we were 1 out of 2 because we said if one of the brothers lost, it could kind of like change the whole entire what's the right word? In retrospect to see where each fighter would go because as brothers, it's hard to see one another lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if one would have lost, it would have been harder for the other one to get mentally prepared to go out there and perform at a high level.
Yes.
One went the distance, one finished his fighter. So you got to see one brother go through the distance and you're like, okay, all right, mind checked, mind back in. My brother was able to perform. He did good. Now I'm going to go back to the well because I'm going to finish my guy. That's what happened. So I give credit where credit's due. The Charlo brothers, these guys are exciting fighters, though.
They are, and I'll give them credit that they did good. I'm just waiting to see what the numbers are that they pulled for the pay-per-view buys.
Same here.
But what's interesting, too, is Ryan Garcia's social media game strong.
Sean, did you know that he's the 12th most marketable athlete on the Forbes list?
Well, you've seen what he looks like, right? He's the new golden boy.
Literally and figuratively.
So you look at him on paper, he's a model.
Social media game strong on Instagram.
So what better way for him to go take a shot at another social media strong guy?
Jake Paul.
And Jake Paul. Because they blew up social media.
Every day they seem to be going at it.
Because they blew up social media when freaking Ryan Garcia apparently showed up at his place
with
in
a
LA
contract?
With a contract said, sign it.
Sign it.
To me, that sounds like that's just a big ploy to get their follower game up even more. I don't know.
Is that good for boxing? Like,
it's not good for boxing. Like I posted on our Instagram, the Sports Warriors, the.sports.warriors. Follow us on Instagram. Is that you look at that, and the only way I would see this fight is if it's a charitable fight. Not a real fight.
I can see that.
Because Ryan Garcia is going to not only break another rib, but he's going to knock him into next.
I think that's what set this off, honestly. When he was doing the body challenge.
He's still doing it. He's still ripping Gymshark. And I swear Gymshark got ripped a new one about 2 weeks ago.
But I think that's what started this all, is because I don't think Jake Paul thought that was going to happen until you sent him to the emergency room with a cracked rib.
Oh, well. He signed up on the dotted line for that one.
That's what I thought. It's like, dude, you put yourself.
He thought he was being tough. Let me take a clean rib shot. Like, okay. Anybody could have told you that was dumb.
Yeah, now Gymshark is being ripped a new one because it's not protective enough. Right?
But now we've got Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis. Gervonta Davis versus Tank.
In 2021.
Versus Ryan Garcia.
I'm down.
Allegedly getting ready to be signed for 2021.
I am down for that.
You and everybody else.
Dude, yes.
Golden Boy versus Floyd Mayweather version 2. Let's get this thing signed up, thrown away, have fun. Let's see what 2021
Can Garcia, though, get past Tank? He hasn't fought anybody with that power.
And Tank hasn't fought anybody with a left hook, even though, who is he fighting? Leo Santa Cruz? De La Santa Cruz? That's going to be a good fight. That has a chance to be a brawl between those two.
Tank needs to get past him in order to even think about Ryan Garcia.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is going to be a good fight. And then it's going to be interesting to see what Tank says if he wins after that fight.
Right.
But, bro, you know what's coming up next week that we have to talk about?
No.
Do you know what's already coming up?
No.
Loma Ginchenko.
Oh, versus Teofimo Lopez on free TV.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's go, Teofimo Lopez. Let's go.
LSU.
Let's go. Lopez over Lomachenko. I'm so over the hype train with Lomachenko. Think he's a good fighter. I don't think he's a great fighter. I think Teofimo Lopez has his number.
Let's go. But on that note, hey, guys, make a donation. Hit that donate button. We'll be back next week to preview Loma versus Lopez.
And if I can figure out how
anticipated bout.
And if I can figure out how to get Zoom to work, hopefully we can try to bring on a guest. Hopefully. I'm still trying to figure out this whole Zoom thing and the platform that we're on to try to bring on guests onto our show to give you guys something different. It's just proving to be a little bit more difficult than what I thought originally it was going to be.
So that's why we haven't tried to bring on any guests.
Yeah, but hopefully
a little nervous.
Right. It makes me a little bit nervous when something doesn't exactly work 100%.
Considering that we were always told that don't do interviews to fill up time.
Right.
Do interviews to do interviews, to spotlight certain things. That's one thing we were always told. So that's why we don't worry about getting interviews. We get them.
We're a combat sports talk show.
So for us, we want to try to get back to doing that, but we got to figure out the whole Zoom thing, this whole new generation thing. So
it makes me feel old, seriously, when I have to learn how to do it again.
I guess he wants to try to do it. So I guess we may get back into it.
Yep, but we're the Ducross brothers. Thank you for joining us tonight in the Warriors Den.
Follow us to get updates when we're scheduled to go live. If we switch anything up, you'll get notified. Hit that donate button, please, folks. Show us some love.
Go to iloveanti.com for all your CB needs. Promo code the Ducross Bros. We are Sean and Tristan Ducross. We are signing out for the evening.
Let's get it on! Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.